Jesus taught us to be his disciples through stories. And three of the last stories he told are captured in Matthew 25. The story of the oil and the lamps, the story of the talents, which are given to us by God, and the story of the sheep and the goats in the Last Judgment. I've come to understand the story of the oil and the lamps as being about the fuel by which we do mission. When we have oil in our lamps, when we have the spiritual presence of Christ in our lives, we have the fuel in the engine that allows us to serve God and to be in God's mission. So to me, the story of the oil and the lamps in Matthew 25 is really about discipleship, how we begin to be disciples and how we sustain our discipleship. The parable, the story that Jesus tells about the talents, one person is given 5 talents, one 2, another 1, is a story about the gifts and resources God gives us for his mission. In the story, the person who's given 5 multiplies them, they become 10. The person who's given 2 multiplies them, they become 4. But the person who's given 1 talent buries the talent in the ground. And so the question becomes, how are we using the gifts and talents that God has given us? If the parable of the oil and the lamps is about mission, the parable of the talents is about stewardship, how we use the gifts and resources of God for his mission. And then the third story is the great judgment, the story about the sheep and the goats. And in the story, those who go up into heaven and encounter the Master are told, "Enter in, because you welcomed me." And the person who enters in wonders, "When did we see you? When did we welcome you?" And Jesus says, "When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. When I was a stranger, you visited me. When I was naked, you clothed me." And the person asks, "When was this?" And Jesus says, "As you did it to the least of these, you did it to me." This is a story about vision, the vision we have for the mission of God. These 3 simple stories that Jesus tells in Matthew 25 teach us a great deal about what Jesus wanted us to do as his disciples, as his followers. The oil in the lamps is about discipleship. The parable of talents is about stewardship. And the sheep and the goats, the great judgment, is about God's mission.